Who's ever been camping? Okay, keep your hands up, those of you who have been camping. Hold them up high so I can see them. Who's been camping? Has it actually been backcountry camping where you couldn't drive to your tent? Awesome, okay. Who has ever either climbed or rappelled or gone cliff jumping? Okay. Who has ever been broke? Actually broke. Like really, not like broke, but mom's got $100 on the way, but actually truly broke. Okay? Who's ever fasted on purpose or by accident, like gone a whole day without food? Okay? How many people have ever volunteered in a soup kitchen? Who's ever eaten in a soup kitchen? Okay? Anybody lived on the road? Actually traveled and like lived on in a camper for a while? Or lived on couch surfing? Okay. All right. I've done all of those things except for one. Hunting is the only one that I haven't done, which is a little bit why when you're reading this story, I'm the same generation. Generation X is our protagonist. There's a little bit of Chris McCandless in me. But there's also a little bit of Chris McCandless in all of you, or there's somebody you know and you can't stand him. And that's sort of going to be one of the tensions that I hopefully will invite in this discussion, is that tension between the people who kind of sympathize with Chris McCandless and the people who can't stand the guy. You know, would have said, get a haircut, take a bath, you know, if you ever met him on the road, on the street. There's this tension, there's this ongoing tension in all great American literary works, not all, but in many great American literary works, between the wild, the outback, nature, between nature and people, between nature and humanity, okay? And what do you think of when you think of the wild and when you think of the great outdoors? Does something come to mind? Does that word wild mean anything to you? Animal, tree, bird. I'm wondering if how long has that slide been up? Yeah, I don't know if my slides are working. Anything else? I'm hearing words like animal, bird, tree, just this word. Danger. Undeveloped. Savage. Okay. What about this word? Primitive. Monkeys. Okay. All right. Well, I had already suggested that we're preoccupied with the tension between humanity and nature. Okay. That this is a tension that we feel. This is a tension that's real. Okay. And so the words that I've heard: savage, monkeys, animal, tree. These are words that we wouldn't apply to ourselves. And so far, the values or the ideas that we've attributed to wild and primitive are not values and ideas that we had attributed to ourselves. What about this word? You're all are college students. Is this a word that you affiliate with your station in life? Is the station of being a college student, is this a position of freedom or of enslavement to your professors, to your parents, to the debt that you're racking up to be here? Do you associate with wild and primitive an idea of freedom? This is the preoccupation in American literature of this tension. This sounds like an AP exam question, right? If you took the AP exam in English, you know, examine the theme of man versus nature in the works of Shakespeare's The Tempest with the character Caliban. This is an epic literary arc. We're just going to look at it in contemporary nonfiction about a real dude that died of starvation. The Mother Earth. Where does that come from? Where do we get this idea, Mother Earth? Hippies. From the hippies. Where did the hippies get it? Yes, the hippies got the idea of the Mother Earth from the Indians. The idea that the earth should be respected and be revered. Don't you talk about my mama. Okay? The idea that one should respect one's mothers is a very strong ideal that most of us hold. Don't you talk bad about my mother. But also in society, the relationship between man and nature sometimes is a gendered issue. Man very masculine, humanity masculinized, universalized as a guy with guy parts. The woman, the earth, feminized like a girl with girl parts. If you take that too far, you run into some problems about that gendered idea. And there's a poem, a Native American poem, that asks us hard questions. And a lot of the European American writers, so these are people who, our ancestors are not from here, right? Most of our ancestors are from Europe. Okay, most of the folks in this room, our ancestors are from Europe. We came here and we interacted with the Native Americans. They had a different attitude about Mother Earth that our hippies, our real hippies from the 60s to the present, got from the Native Americans. And so this idea of the Mother Earth imbued in them a different value system. You've probably heard of the Protestant work ethic. That was the colonial spirit, the pioneer spirit. Well, the Native Americans had a different value system. Like this Native American poem suggests, my young men shall never work. Men who work cannot dream, and wisdom comes to us in dreams. You ask me to plow the ground. Shall I take a knife and tear my mother's breast? When I die, she will not take me to her bosom to rest. You ask me to dig for stone. Shall I dig for skin under her bones? Then when I die, I cannot enter her body to be born again. You ask me to cut grass and make hay and sell it to be rich like white men. But how dare I cut off my mother's hair? And so, on the one hand, it seems really awesome, whether you're a hippie or not, to esteem the earth, the Mother Earth. But then you're thinking, well, what do we do to our Mother Earth? Would we want to treat our mothers the way that we treat our planet? These are questions that have been grappled with by some of the greatest writers. And I remember we came up with that word primitive. The first word that came to mind was a lower person on the food chain, monkeys. So chimpanzees, gorillas, bonobos, you go and look it up. These entities are not considered to be as evolved as we are, or as intelligent, or maybe imbued with a sense of consciousness the way that we are. The primitive humans, pre-industrial humans, what did we think of them? What was when we heard the word primitive, what do we think of people who do not live in concrete buildings or in dormitories or apartments or houses, who don't live with modern conveniences, people who are primitive? What kind of values do we believe that they have? Is that a good thing to live that way, a bad thing? Is it good to get back to nature? We said the hippies and the Indians did it, but is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is that an American ideal? Is that a value that we would consider to be a positive value? This cat, Marshall Salins, was an anthropologist, and in his book, Stone Age Economics, he theorized that the primitive people, the savages, had it made. He basically argues in his text that they were the original affluent society, the original leisure society, meaning basically they hunted or gathered for a few hours in the day, and then they kicked back and had parties and rituals and ceremonies for the rest of their time. They had a leisure time. Unlike us, how much do we work if we're considered hardworking? How often of our day? Minimum 8-hour workday, 40-hour work week is usually considered minimum of a full-time work. That's a lot of your time. That's half of your waking hours you're spent working. And now a lot of people work more than that. They work 2 jobs. They work between 50 and 80 hours a week. They have a full-time job and a part-time job, or they have a full-time job, but their free time isn't spent doing ritual, except on Sunday morning. Their free time is spent doing laundry, taking care of children, also other forms of labor. And so what Salins was arguing in his text was that actually we're not really necessarily maybe as evolved as we